So, hello, here is Roger and Amy's scripture mapping channel. We just wanted to create this. We felt inspired to do something together, and we'll see how it goes. And just to kind of give her introduction of where we went this morning, we were talking a lot about our health lately and trying to increase our health, and we're on a diet right now, and we're looking at ways holistically we can be in better shape, and we're talking physically, mentally, and spiritually, and in our relationship. So we've been concentrating a lot on our physical health lately, and we've been on the whole foods diet, kind of, is one of the things we've been focusing on. And we've been losing some weight with the whole foods diet and calorie restrictions, things like that. And we've been working on our exercise and our mobility, and getting outside and fresh air for health too, and for especially like in the morning to have sun. And then some of our supplements, we've been looking at things that we do for vitamins or herbs and minerals and things that we do, and probiotics with like yogurt and kimchi and sauerkraut. Anyway, we've just been looking at a lot of things with our diet and trying to get better shape, to feel better and to be able to do things better. And anyway, Amy was talking about or she brought up a scripture this morning that stuck out to her, and I think we'll go to that right now if you want to.
Okay, so I saw a reel this morning that someone was talking about 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5, and it says, "Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." Kind of what that says to me is, I think we have a lot of maybe negative thoughts, things that go on in our head that aren't exactly Christ-like. And so what can we do before they become actions and go into what we might say or do around other people? What can we do to control, or like it says, bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ? How can we corral them and really understand what's going in our head, and then make it decide, is this Christ-like, is this not Christ-like? And if it's not, then you kind of put it in captivity and find a better thought or a better way to express what's going on.
So when she said that, and just the idea occurred to me that the spiritual and the physical are, they correlate in a way. And so I was putting that together as far as the physical. We've been looking at a lot of the things in our life, and trying to avoid some of the empty calories, or avoid some of the ultra processed foods, and trying to avoid bringing bad things into our body physically. And then Amy, through a scripture study, was talking about how spiritually, how to bring good things into your life and how to avoid some of those poisons, I guess, or those toxins in the spiritual sense. And I thought, well, that's a great example. It kind of goes together. And so we thought, with what we're doing here, that would be a good way of us to control some of those spiritual things that's coming and going in our lives, that we might be able to avoid some of those things that's not whole foods, I guess, in the spiritual sense. And I got to thinking about, what are those whole foods, and what are the empty calories or the ultra processed foods when it comes to spiritual aspects. And we've been inspired a lot recently to do a little bit more with controlling some of the things that we watch, like not spending so much time scrolling through reels or watching too many YouTube videos or things like that. And not that some of those things are necessarily bad or negative, because some of them are really good, but I don't think sometimes that they're more of a, I guess, a Whole Foods kind of thing in a spiritual sense. And so we decided to up our game when it comes to the spiritual foods and try to do with whole foods in our spiritual aspects too as well. And I mean like the scripture study and reviewing our general conference talks, things like that, and our couple study together, especially, that we can really work together better on the spiritual whole foods part. And when I talked about the the supplementation or the videos that we watch, the reels or things like that, sometimes I think that they can be maybe a supplement to our spiritual guide if we are selective on what we choose and choosing good things. But I think it's important that our supplementation doesn't become our main diet, but our main diet consists of whole foods, of scriptures, that we really invest our time and effort into.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think just like when your diet is trying to be better so that you're more healthy, your spiritual life needs to be kind of in that same arena, and fighting those spiritual battles. You need to be strong, you need to be healthy, you need to be able to focus. And if you're constantly scrolling through reels or just watching stuff that might not be necessarily really bad, but it's not, the best, or you're not getting the things that are, like he said, like the whole foods, then you tend to suffer. And when your trials come, your struggles come, you're not able to fully be your best to handle them.
Yeah, and just like in our physical bodies, sometimes we need supplements to overcome a particular problem that we're having physically. I think it's spiritually too. There may be a case where we need to supplement with something, like this. When you watch a video that somebody really gained something from the scriptures or had a spiritual insight, I think that would be or could be more of a spiritual supplement that we would take. And so we want to, in part of our effort here, we want to make available, things that's been supplemental to our spiritual health, something that's helped us to grow, and not to provide, hopefully, things that are toxic or empty calories or more of an ultra processed type thing, but more something that we can help supplement somebody's life with. And so we've been looking at some things to do, and Amy came up with an idea. She's been watching online a lady that does something called scripture mapping. And so we're gonna include something, probably in the next video about that and what we're doing, but a very quick introduction, I guess, is that it just is a way to take one scripture and kind of look at the different ideas that are involved in there, and then also see how it affects us and our relationship with God, and what it tells us about God and what it tells us about ourselves. Then it also includes a section about prayer and answers. But we'll go a little bit more into that in depth, maybe on the next video. But anything else you want to add to that?
No, we're good.
But anyway, that's kind of an introduction, and I guess more to come.
Bye.